Alright guys, thought I'd do a video because I'm having a cup of tea and my lunch break. But it sort of ties in a little bit actually, because a lot of my work over the years, you pump to get the stuff done, so sometimes work up to 20 hours in a day for months, like 7 days a week to get something over the line. I won't do it these days, and this comes in twofold. First one is make time for yourself, and second one is stop caring so much. So a lot of the stuff that we deal with is not our problems. And it's quite funny, is one of my friends uses this phrase. He picked it up off me, but he uses it regular because he understood what I meant from a business perspective. Because a lot of stuff he was dealing with wasn't his problems. So as I say, the phrasing is basically, don't make your problem my problem. In other words, when people go, I have a tight deadline, I need this by Friday. You go, how long have you had it? Well, that's nothing to do with you. Well, it is. Why is it so urgent? Because they probably had it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, annually, and just didn't tell you. So suddenly it's urgent because they've just been reminded that it's due on Friday, and suddenly it's your problem. That's their problem, not your problem. In the same way, a lot of companies will keep loading you work that isn't part of your remit. It's okay to help. There's a difference between helping and people taking the mick. So what you need to do is set the boundaries and make sure the boundaries work. So in other words, yeah, I'll help you as far as I can, but if you suddenly start going, okay, it's now your job, and maybe the person that was doing it was paid more than you, and at the same time there's no plan on replacing them because you're stupid enough to keep doing it, that's a problem. And there's ways of dealing with that situation as well, which is you make yourself busy doing what you should be doing, because it's very difficult to challenge you on stuff that isn't yours, that you're not doing, because you're too busy doing your actual job. Which gets back to, you create the boundaries, create the space, and make sure you create time for yourself. If you're working long hours, and unless you want to do it, you do have boundaries in there, and you can set boundaries. I've worked in companies where I was on call permanently while other guys never did any on call. They didn't do weekends, they didn't do overtime. I did all of it. Was I whinging about it? No. I was quite young at the time, and I was earning more than the director, the regional director, because the amount of hours I was covering. And on call outs, you get 4 hours at time and a half for every single call out. So when you have like floods and heavy rain, because I was dealing with supermarkets and retail units, I could get up to 17 calls in one day at the weekend. So you imagine that, you're getting 4.5 times for every call out, times 17. Yeah, 4.5 at time and a half, times 17. That's not bad work for the weekend, and you get used to doing it. But it gets back to the point, I chose to do that because no one else wanted to do it, and I'm like, I'll take the money. I'll take the money. Now, would I go into that same situation today? No, because I A, don't need the money, and B, I would not be pushed into that box. They did try to do it to me in the company because they realised how much I cost, which you wouldn't have noticed if the other, say, 16 engineers actually took their turns. But what they tried to do was promote me to supervisor. And as a supervisor, if nobody responds, it becomes your responsibility. And as a supervisor, you're on a salary, which means all that extra money I'd earn at the weekend, which would equate to more than a supervisor's salary just for the weekends. What idiot would take that up? Then you factor in that I had a van which wasn't taxed by the state, and they wanted to give me a company car which was taxed by the state. And I sat there, because it was a while ago, because they were basically a supervisor's rate then was 26,000. And I said to him, why would I want 26,000 when I'm earning over 80,000? Why would I want that? Oh, think about the progression in the company. Think about, it's like, you're talking nearly a quarter of the salary. Why would I want it? And then you may become you're awkward or whatever because you're not playing their game. At the same time, you just carry on normal. You just say, look, thank you, thanks for the opportunity, but it wouldn't be financially beneficial. And although we all have love for the company, it doesn't pay my mortgage, pay for my bills. So goodbye. And the other part of this is if you're getting roped in and kept busy, you're not developing yourself, you're not evolving yourself, you're deteriorating yourself in many ways. Like me with the long hours, this is probably where a lot of my hair and that's gone. There's the long hours and working in high stress environments. So it can and does knock you. And it was quite interesting. I was listening to Billy Bob Thornton? He was talking to Joe Rogan, and he was talking about a doctor had advised him to continue smoking and drink alcohol. Why? Because the bigger killer is stress. You know, with Billy Bob Thornton having anxiety and other things, it made more sense to actually have a couple of beers a day and smoke. So a lot of this stuff out there is all very specific to people selling a cause, because it's a bit like when you do a white paper or I don't know, a dietary framework within a criteria. The criteria has already set your boundaries, so you're not going to look at things outside that because the boundaries are already set. So what you get is a lot of stuff is just blinkered on a certain perspective, certain view to accommodate what the narrative is. So if I said to you, I don't know, reading a book every day can extend your life by 5 years, where would I get the facts from? What's the context? What's the realities? But you start going, well, it reduces stress, it does this. Okay, now we've got a bit of context. So what you're actually saying, this is more down the route of well-being. It's down the route of, what do they call that thing? Meditating. See, I find meditation confusing because for me, it just sounds like you just sit quietly. I do that anyway. Clear your mind. Just it's like, yeah, it's called first thing in the morning. I make a coffee, and I'm not thinking about yesterday. I'm not thinking about today. I'm just in that moment, just chilled out, just having my coffee, and then the next coffee is I'm thinking about what I've got to do today, and then I start doing stuff. It's like stepping up for the day. I suppose that sort of fits into what similar to what meditation does in some ways, but it's not all spiritual and yin yang and whatever. It's just literally taking a bit of time for yourself. But a lot of the good stuff has no metrics. It has either people saying it does things with nothing that can confirm it, or it's stuff you know yourself. You're more relaxed when you do this. You're more at peace with yourself and just chilled out. So that could extend your life. Why? Because you're obviously de-stressing and removing stress from your life in some way, which gets back to making time for yourself. There's many ways of doing it. This is why guys go and sit in garden sheds with the radio on. This is why guys go fishing. This is why guys go hunting, do stuff where A, often on their own, or B, with guys they know. And they say guys because they may go fishing with them every single week and have no idea if they're married or not, what the wives' names are, what the kids are. They just know it's Dave from the fishing group. That's it. Because you're going there to get away from the crap. And this is the important bit, getting back to make time for yourself. If you're working hard or being forced to work hard because the business doesn't have the right people, doesn't have enough people, whatever, it's not your company. you're giving up your life to fill a void that's not yours to accommodate. If you're filling it and accommodating, the company's never going to replace or add people. They're just going to use you because you're a cheap date. Because you'll soon know if it's the other way around. Because like with me, they were trying to promote me, because this is going back a long time ago. This is when I was early. That was probably early 90s. So it's a lot, well, mid 90s actually, about midnight, probably about 1994 to be specific. But yeah, but the point being is, they could see they were paying you and seeing it as too much, not the volume of work you did. Not the fact that a lot of sites I dealt with wanted only me on site because they found some of the engineers absolutely shockingly bad. So they go, we'd rather wait for Matt. I know Matt's in Coventry today, but if we can only make it on Friday, we'll wait till Friday. Don't send one of your other idiots. That's the sort of comms that was coming off some of these sites, because I'll go there and do it properly. I could give some funny instances, but I think it's irrelevant because it would just be rude. Oh, I'll give one. Like an AC guy couldn't fix the AC. It's not working. And I said, did you check the fuse? And he swapped it. He'd been there like 3 or 4 hours trying to fix it. He swapped the fuse. And he was just stood there like, because it just comes straight on. And he's like, don't tell anybody. It was just a fuse. But I had loads of stuff like that. People that couldn't see the earth bar because it had a plastic cover on it inside a distribution board. And he'd been there for hours and he's looking and thinking there's something wrong. Don't know what it is. It keeps shutting down. And I went in there. He dropped his screwdriver and was short in the board. And at the same time, he couldn't see the earth bar that was actually on the front, because it was literally across the front of the unit, because it had a plastic cover on it. But yeah, the competencies sometimes are astounding. But as you see, I laugh about it. I don't think you're a bloody idiot. Why didn't you actually qualified in this stuff? This isn't what I do. It's just that I can look at it and go, your screwdriver's wedged in there. Anyway, yeah, so make time for yourself. Understand that you need to develop yourself. Developing yourself is why you need your time. I'm getting chased at the moment for a course I'm doing, because I've done the first section and I haven't done the rest because it's been Christmas and they're on about kicking me off the course. So tonight, Matthew, I will be doing the 3 modules back to back, because the course is nearly finished and we're supposed to take about a month per section, and I've got to do 3 tonight. But I don't mind. It's on business startups, so it won't take me long anyway. But I make my time, develop courses, and if you're in the UK, I can give you some links where you can get free courses. Do be aware though, once you contact these people, they will keep contacting you, because it is a sales mechanism. But develop yourself, look after yourself, and realise that you have this limited thing on this planet called time. Make the time yours, not other people's. Thanks for watching.